Hey there, this is your coach James Wilson, back with workout B for the first phase of our off-season training program. We're going to start out again with a power and core circuit. So this time we're going to do our get up hip drill coupled with our kneeling dumbbell cheat curl. So the get up hip drill is just the next step in the Turkish get up. So what we're going to do is actually get set up doing a half get up. So what we did in the last workout, you're going to get set, getting your kettlebell or dumbbell up in a position, arm and leg out. I'm gonna drive the elbow in to the ground, help pulse up. Get our shoulders set, established position. Drive this hand into the ground, rotating on the palm so I can get these fingers back just a little bit. And again, getting my shoulders set in a good strong position, making sure my knee is up a little bit, not collapsed in. So I'm basically looking to have my foot be planted on the ground. I wanna have the outside edge of my foot on the ground, don't want it rolled up. So from here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drive my heel and my palm into the ground, and it's gonna raise my hips. And then I'm gonna pull my knee into my chest and rotate my knee under me and put it where my butt was. So this is it, we're just coming to here. And then what we're gonna do, again, I'm gonna drive the heel and the palm into the ground to lift us up. That unweights the leg, we can straighten it out. We come back down, our butt goes on the ground. So again, if you'll notice where my butt is, I'm gonna raise my hips to bring my butt off the ground. I pull my knee into my chest and I rotate it under, and it goes right there where my butt was. So I'm not trying to pull my leg back like this, don't do that. I've got this 90-degree angle going right there. I wanna keep that, and then leg out and down. We would just repeat how many reps you have, up, and get that knee down, and then back down. So then you're gonna come down to the elbow, back down to your back, get your weight down, then you would switch sides and do your reps on the other side. So just paying attention to how many reps you have for that week. So that's your get up hip drill, just working on that, the hip raise and pulling the knee under you portion of the Turkish get up. And then again, we're doing that. The next exercise is the kneeling dumbbell cheat curl. So we went over that one in workout A, just making sure you're focusing on the hips moving forward and back. The shoulders are almost kind of dropping, up and down more than swinging forward and back. So focus on the hips and working on those and not using the shoulders. So the next thing we're going to do after you've done your power and core circuit is our focus circuit. So again, we're going to use the 2-2-0 tempo, coming down to a count of 2, up to a count of 2, making sure we're not pausing at the top or the bottom to rest, trying to keep that constant tension on the muscles to make them work more aerobically. We're going to do a goblet squat coupled with a tall kneeling press. So for a goblet squat, again, you can use a kettlebell or a dumbbell. I'll show you with the setup with each one real quick. So with the kettlebell, you're holding it by the horns, feet set, shoulder width apart, toes pointed slightly out. You're gonna do your squat, so it's just like we're practicing with our bodyweight squat in workout A. We're dropping the hips down, keeping the chest up. What I wanna do is have my pointy part of my elbow touch right on the inside part of my knee. I don't want it forward like this. I don't want it below it. I want it to just touch, that's it. Like right now I should be able to use my elbows to push my knees out. And then I'm gonna drive through my heels, squeeze my glutes, get nice and tall and thin at the top, making sure I'm keeping my shoulders pulled back and down the whole time. Sitting down and back up. So that's what it's gonna look like. So with the tempo, it's gonna look like this. Down, 2, up, 2. Down, 2, up, 2. Down, 2, up, 2 for our 10 reps that we're doing. Again, if you can't hold that tempo, then stop wherever you're at. You either need to adjust the weight or you may just be having an off day, but make sure you're focusing on that constant tension. So again, you'll notice it's okay to pause for like a fraction of a second at the top and the bottom and establish your position. We just don't want to hang out there for any amount of time and take the tension off the muscles long enough to let them start recovering. So that's your goblet squat with the kettlebell, with the dumbbell. Same thing, you would just hold it like this, getting set, down, 2, up, 2, down, 2, up, 2. There you go. So we're coupling, are doing that with a tall kneeling press. So you can use kettlebells or dumbbells once again. I'm gonna show you with dumbbells here. Either way, I want you to get set in this rack position right here. So you've got your hands are in front of your shoulders. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna drive the weights up, lock it out for a second, and bring it back down. Actually, not, we're gonna lock it out for a second. We're gonna establish position because we're doing our 2-2-0 tempo. But show you from the side. Again, at the top, you wanna make sure those biceps are in line with the ears. You're not pushing your head forward. Elbows are locked out. I'm making sure I'm driving my knees into the ground, squeezing my glutes, tall and thin, as I'm doing this. Something that helps with the presses. Instead of thinking about pushing the weights up and like reaching for the ceiling, if I imagine that the weights are stationary and I'm driving myself underneath them, I'm driving myself into the ground, it'll help make sure that I'm keeping all the right muscles strong and stable. So try that trick if you haven't tried that one before. So again, nice strong position to start. So it's gonna look like this with the tempo. Up, 2, down, 2, up, 2, down, 2, up, 2, down, 2. And again, just continue for however many reps you're doing. Now, real quick note, if you're using kettlebells, that rack position, you wanna make sure that you have good, strong wrist position. You don't wanna be letting the kettlebell break your wrist like this, and you also don't wanna let it do what I call win the arm wrestling contest. Okay, if you had an arm wrestling contest, right now, the kettlebell would be winning. So you wanna be winning that arm wrestling contest. The kettlebell is gonna try to pull your arm out like this. So make sure you have it established nice and strong, and you're doing your presses from that position there, not with the bent wrist or like this. So just a little note to watch with the kettlebell when you're in that rack position. It's you just have to be a little more aware of that, which is actually one of the things that makes them a little bit better, because you're having to work the muscles to resist that instead of just having it balanced in your hands like you do with a dumbbell. But anyways, either one's fine. So 3 times through that circuit, we're looking for 10 reps on each circuit, maintaining that 2-2-0 tempo. And then once you've done that, we're gonna move on to our secondary circuit. We've got a marching glute bridge, a uni or single arm farmer's walk, and some ab rollouts. So with the marching glute bridge, you're gonna get set on the ground. You want your feet about hip width apart. So about there, we don't want them too narrow. We don't want them real wide. We want them about hip width apart. Laying on the ground, I like to have my palms open to the ceiling, just any chance I get to open up the chest and work on this external rotation I'm gonna take. Kind of help set the upper back in a good strong position too. So I'm gonna drive through my heels. When I say drive through my heels, I don't want my toes to come off of the ground, okay? I'm just saying that I'm not gonna push through the balls of my feet. I'm gonna kind of preferentially push through my heels, but I'm keeping the balls of my feet on the ground. I'm gonna do that while I squeeze my glutes, get myself set. I find it helpful to think about pushing my knees away from my shoulders. Rather than trying to get my hips up high, if I think about knees pushed away from shoulders, it gets my core set where I want it. Now from this position, we're gonna march. So you're gonna raise one leg up, back down, other leg up, back down. And you're just gonna repeat this. So each time each leg touches the ground, that's 1 rep. So this would be 2 reps. And then this would be 3 reps. So you'll see my hips have started to sink a little bit. After every 2 to 3 reps, you need to stop and reset. It's hard to keep your hips up. And what's gonna happen is on each rep, they'll sink just a little bit. You'll see they start to sink just a little bit. So after every 2 to 3 reps, make sure you reset. And if you can't hold them up there, then you're probably done. So we're trying to work on that ability to stabilize and have the hips hold you up there just as much as anything else. So that's your marching glute bridge. Again, make sure that you're feeling the tension in the glutes holding you up. You don't want to be feeling it in the lower back. You don't want to be feeling a lot in the quads. That's an indicator of trying to secure this from the wrong place. Single arm farmer's walk is just what it sounds like, except now you're going to get your weight. To pick it up, you want to stand next to it, butt back, chest down, so it should feel just like your Bulgarian goat bag swing, that basic movement. and then stand up with it and establish that shoulder position. But the other thing you want to watch is that the kettlebell is not rubbing against your leg a lot. That means you're probably leaning over. So nice and tall, shoulders pulled back and down. And again, just holding that, you know, walking a figure 8. You can walk a circle if you want, but then you just have to remember what direction you went and reverse it next time. This way you don't have to worry about such things. So obviously if you have more room, you can make your figure 8 bigger. But the idea is you're gonna walk your 20 to 40 paces. When you're done, you're gonna switch arms, do it on the other side. Again, watching posture, watching breathing. That's more important for us right now than necessarily the grip strength aspect of this. So once you've done that, you're gonna do a good old ab rollout. Now, if you don't have one of these things cost like $5, $10. Go get you one of these things. This is an amazing training tool, great overlooked stuff, and we're gonna be using it. So, get you an ab wheel if you don't have one. You can use a kneeling inchworm. Go to the bikejames.com blog and Google search kneeling inchworm, and you'll find an alternative exercise you can do if you don't have one of these and you don't want to go spend the $5 to $10 to get one. But anyways, on your knees, get set. Just gonna roll out and drive yourself back up to the top. Roll out. Drive yourself back up. So a couple of things to keep in mind. Shoulder position is very important. You cannot let them round up. So keep your shoulder blades tucked into your back pocket as you come down. As you come back up, you want to drive your palms hard into the ground. Think about trying to keep your elbows pointed towards the ground and drive your palms into the ground. As soon as you let your elbows turn out and you let them bend, it's actually going to make it a lot harder to do. We're trying to get the lats to do the work here, and that's how you do it. Keep those elbows pointed down towards the ground and drive your palms into the ground as you're doing it. So there's your ab rollouts. And again, if you can't come all the way down, that's fine. Don't push this. There's no reason to ever get hurt in training. If you can only come like a quarter of the way out before you start to feel unstable and unsafe, then come back in. Don't force yourself into unstable, unsafe positions. Instinctively, you know where these are. So don't force yourself into them. Just work with the range of motion that you have. And you know, if it seems like you're never getting any better, then maybe you need to check your form, or there may be some mobility issues. But you know, this one especially, don't push yourself any further and harder than you feel comfortable doing. So that's your ab rollouts. We're gonna finish up with some cardio. We got some lactic capacity intervals. This basically means that you're gonna find a pace where you're just starting to pant. So that point where you can't breathe in and out through your nose. So you wanna start out breathing in and out through your nose. When you hit the pace where you're starting, you can't do that anymore. You're just starting to have to force yourself to breathe, do a little bit of mouth breathing. You wanna back off just a hair, hang out right there in that area, and you're gonna hold that pace for a minute and a half. And then you're gonna get a minute and a half rest. Now rest doesn't mean just bad posture, bad breathing habits. Like, you wanna maintain good posture, good deep diaphragmatic breathing, focus on recovery just as much as you're focusing on working hard, and it'll help you work harder. And so, focus on the recovery aspect when it's your recovery time. It's just as important as the work hard time. And so again, posture and breathing is the main thing to focus on. Do not push yourself harder than what you can maintain those things. Because remember, we got to maintain the internal and external environment that we want the body to get used to and expect when it's on the trail. And so if you want to reinforce good breathing and posture, all opportunities here. So again, you're going to see we're just going to build a little bit of volume, adding a set each week. And then finally, our fourth week is our back off week, where you're taking a little easier, so we drop the volume. But so that's basically it. So that's your workout B, and I'll talk to you in the next one.